Not My Family is a highly fictionalized, loosely autobiographical narrative that describes generational bad will, poor choices, financial malfeasance, and even murder. The generational craziness is propagated like a tidal wave, threatening to drown everything in the deluge. Secrets are buried deep in lies, pacts sealed in blood, the truth concealed unto death, just to exert some control. I hate rubberneckers. It's kind of like, or this book is kind of like rubbernecking. The 30-mile pileup or 30-car pileup on I-75. You want to look away, but you're drawn to the carnage. Join me as the protagonist progresses along self-discovery and she recreates her identity and she discovers how to go home again. Not My Family can be purchased at FeliciaBaxter.com or directly from the author. Just navigate to Facebook, look up Dale's Angels Inc. and click Buy Now for your autographed copy. Now, let's return to the podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of TNFro Medical Minute, and I'm your host, Felicia Baxter. Last week was the inaugural event or the inaugural segment where I talked about most things: precision medicine, the chlamydia vaccine, and the water contamination in New Jersey. But this week, I've curated a bit of the segment a little bit more. I wanted to get this out towards the beginning of the week, but life gets in the way of my art, so to speak. And I've just been so lazy and hadn't gotten up early enough to actually record and publish this. It's been so bad that I've actually decided to break up the TNFro is reading into multiple days, so I won't be so compelled to try to do the scripting and then publish a whole big thing. I think it'll just be easier, and I think it'll be more amenable to the audience if I just break up each segment and record it on a daily basis. So there's no pressure. But this medical minute is truly that. It's going to be just about 30 minutes. I'm hopeful. I'm going to talk about updates to the insurance game, and also just a recap of what I spoke about last week as far as any updates to the water crisis as well as the chlamydia vaccine. My audible eye roll as far as the environmental rollbacks, which have been rolled back still, because I just read an article where the governor of Alaska was like, you tripping. And what's up with Juul and vaping and this popcorn lung that's actually taking out a whole bunch of young people. I'm also going to talk about Hannah's Home Beauty Minute and her remedies. And then I'm going to end the show. And thank you for joining me. I hope you learned something today. So what's going on in the news in the medical minute? I just thought that the environmental rollbacks with this administration were stupid. And evidently, the governor of Alaska also thinks it's stupid. You cannot tell me that drilling and logging in the tundra roll back all those fail-safe that keep people from contaminating our greatest resource makes good business sense. That makes absolutely no business sense at all. Now, with most of the Amazon on fire because of that jackass and mismanagement, I don't think it is fair for us to destroy our environment, which keeps us alive. Who does that? And I think the American public is in complete agreement. Now, but on a lighter note, um, I'm dedicating this part of the podcast to my niece Hannah, and I'm calling it Hannah's Home Beauty Remedies. Hannah has a lot of time, evidently, on her hands, so she actually researches uh, things that actually make sense and are natural. The two that I'm going to highlight this week are rice water, where you can actually soak white rice, jasmine rice in water, preferably allowing it to ferment for a couple of days, and it makes an amazing um, conditioner. The people of the Orient have known this for centuries. They've known that it allow if you do these rinses, it allows you to hold your raven or your dark hair dyes longer, and it actually uh, strengthens the hair. I've actually tried it, and I'm actually going to do it again on tomorrow or the day before I go back to work, because I've found that my fro is bigger and its hold uh, and its ability to keep my fro bigger is actually increased. And I actually changed that mind. I'm going to highlight three different things today. I haven't tried the third one, so I'll probably follow up with that one this next week. But the other one is the turmeric and honey mask. The turmeric, the turmeric and honey, both of them have antioxidant, I believe, capabilities. And evidently in sub-Saharan Africa, the native tribes have known about this again for centuries. Not only do I think it gives your skin a little bit of that tone and color, almost like a foundation, the honey just adds, and the combination of just adds just so much great softness and decreasing of lines um, that I've noticed in just using it for the past 3 days. I mixed it up with a little bit of black sea clay mask, and I keep it on with a reusable silicone face mask to keep it in place. And I've just noticed it's just, the skin is just so touchable, and it's actually really pretty good too. As in the, and I also said it's non-comedogenic, so you don't have to worry about zits or anything like that, like I thought it was going to be. But not only does it smell pretty good, there's a peppery scent to it, but it also, again, increases the elasticity of your skin. And the third gem um, is something called amla oil. Amla is the powdered remnants of it is the Indian gooseberry. And again, it's been used for centuries in India. What you do is you basically mix it up. Preferably, it's like a sesame. I'm actually leaching mine in virgin or a very clean almond oil. And it's also supposed to give your skin, um, again, elasticity, and it's another beauty secret. And I'll actually be able to look that up, and update you on that home remedy again next week. I love to read, obviously. Therefore, the TNFro is reading podcast. But for those hard to find titles, navigate to alibris.com. Alibris.com is chock full of hundreds of thousands of titles at a reasonable cost. So navigate to alibris.com/TNFro for those special deals. Plus, you can also navigate to dalesangelsinc.com and check out updated daily deals at your pleasure. Now back to the podcast. Welcome back to the episode. And this is TNFro. And what's going on as far as insurance? Well, I thought I was going to make sure that to go over a little bit of a tidbit, because what I do all day as a clinical advisor is recommend making sure patients get the right status. That's what we do in utilization management. But this is something I've noticed ongoing. I've noticed people that come in, either they go from the ER to the ICU and then they get discharged. I think there's a glitch in the system. Have seen this most often with Cerner, electronic medical record, where they're accidentally discharged from the system, but instead of being transferred from one level of care to the next, they're actually discharged from that area before they go to somewhere else. I don't know if it's the bill or if somebody just has a twitchy transfer finger, but a patient that is septic, meaning they're low blood pressures, they're on medication to keep the blood pressure up, or they come in with a blood sugar of 1,000 and they're on an IV insulin drip, I doubt if they're going to be just discharged home within 8 hours. That just doesn't happen. So I'm thinking the patients are accidentally discharged. And you can't expect them to have that rapid of a recovery in that respect. So I think everyone needs to review their systems and make sure that this is not accidentally happening. And that's my tidbit, insurance tidbit from the day that I've seen on the review side. And also this week, I wanted to give you an update on what's going on with the chlamydia vaccine and the contaminated water of Newark. I haven't received any new updates, and I've been able to actually set Google alerts to ping me when that actually happens. But it seems as if, since the VMAs have actually been or were just this past week in Newark, there were protesters and everything outside, and their chant, "We want our water free. We don't want no MTV." I thought that was catchy. And yes, this appears to be on the level of the Flint, Michigan contamination, because the cover up was just as stupid, as well as the level of toxins that were in the water. No, there's not necessarily an immediate lead known lead toxicity that's associated, but it can be cumulative, and there is no acceptable level of lead that can be in anyone's water. And they seem to be moving forward with the abatement of all of the old lead pipes throughout Newark. Um, and that's the only way that they're going to get rid of it. They just have to get rid of the pipes. There's some under sink triple systems that can actually help remove the lead, but I don't think that's enough. The lead just needs to go. Well, as I become more and more and I get paid more and more to work, I get to practice my craft in many different ways. I've published my own book, I update my blog, and I also publish this podcast. But what's going to keep it all moving smoothly is when I get other paid assignments. Well, I wrote this copy for a very useful uh, cleaning device that I first became aware of when I stayed with a colleague of mine in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I had no idea that the company or they're manufactured right down the road in Dalton, Georgia, but it's a very perfect addition to any cleaning buff or OCD person. It's called Peachy Clean. And I am going to read you the copy that I wrote because I'm kind of proud of it. And I thought it was actually pretty good. I'm what you could call a self-described scrubaholic, which makes my relationship with the Peachy Clean scrubber a bit eccentric. But that makes sense because a scrubber does have a personality disorder. It looks like a sponge, but kicks butt as a heavy-duty scrubber. The lattice work of the silicone gives it the feel of a sponge and allows it to hold soap and water more readily. It also gives it the durability that keeps it from permanently damaging your ceramic stove tops or scrape that unique non-stick surface on expensive cookware. And when it's paired with the non-abrasive disinfectant, it makes quick work of the soap and scum in your bathroom. And you ever notice that stench emanating from that sponge, like the dust from Pigpen and the Peanuts cartoon? It's the perfume made up of the byproducts of mildew and pathologic bacteria that are having a love fest in the sponge. The bacterial brothel, yes, I stole that from a different writer, raging within those holes and crevices of traditional sponges that make them absorbent are the condos of salmonella, slime-causing, smelly, dangerous organisms. But the Peachy Clean scrubber with that silicone matrix allows it to scrape off burnt food and particles, rinse away pesticides, all without leaving a sticky film. It is one of the best on the market and economical, with benefits of durability with pots and pan scouring, but also soft enough not to scratch up your delicate surfaces or bruise your fruit and vegetables. Repeat cleaning will get you about 2 or 3 months of odor-free, heavy-duty usage. It's so reasonably priced that you'll easily be able to replace it. And literally, it's locally sourced, y'all. It's right down the road from Chattanooga in the state of Georgia. For those of us that require an A-plus health department grade cleaning of our kitchens and bathrooms, this guaranteed odor-free scrubber paired with surface-specific cleaning solutions is the one to beat. So join other scrubberholics as we keep it clean and keep it fresh with Peachy Clean Scrubber. Now, back to the podcast. So, what is going on with the wait and moment of today? All this week and for the past couple of weeks, I was excited when I saw a colleague, Karen Schultz. We actually completed residency together at Children's, and she was talking about a patient of hers in the ICU. Um, a young kid that was on life support because of they associated with vaping. We've known forever the toxic effects of vaping. If it wasn't the formaldehyde and some other carcinogens and toxins that were released from the plastic of the cheap knockoffs, we've known of the effects of nicotine, straight nicotine, as it relates to vaping. And I want you to follow me with the science here. When you vape, either you're vaping pure nicotine in the form of some type of liquid, or THC oil. Either way, those things are getting into your system at toxic levels. Nicotine, in particular, has the ability to, upon contact, it can cause vasoconstriction as well as bronchospasm, which means that your everything just constricts down. If everything constricts down, that means oxygen can't get in, carbon dioxide can't get out. And if those two gas exchanges cannot take place, then all of the other toxins, formaldehyde, nickel, blah, 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 all those things basically stay where they are. The effects could be accumulative and could cause damage. And it's additive. The more you smoke, the more that crap stays in. Why wouldn't that all cause complete shutdown on a global level because you have pure nicotine acting on your lungs and having those effects in your system at higher than noted before? I conjecture that the amount of nicotine when you actually smoke Juuls is 50 to 1,000 times higher than what you could ever get in a Marlboro, because they don't have the same concentration. Even with if they injected it, I still don't think the pure nicotine that's in the Juul is, you're not going to get that same effect that you can get with the cigarette. What also pisses me off is the CEO of Juul basically saying they're trying to get FDA approval for this poison. How dare you, Kevin? Are you freaking kidding me? There are other non-toxic ways to get people to stop smoking. Number one, just don't start. But you cannot tell me that you did not market this for the young crowd. Juul all was about expanding their product. They did it by sleek advertisement. They made it look cool, and they gave it cool flavors like bubblegum. And you telling me you did not market this for young people? Shame on you. You're lying. You're lying just as badly as the cigarette industry was back in the early part of the 20th century. Juul is not a viable alternative to help people stop smoking. It is all it does. It propagates and keeps people hooked because of the amount of nicotine that's actually getting into your system. Also, what's even more dangerous is THC. There's a psychosis as well as a hyperemesis that's associated with THC that you can't negate, because what it's getting in the system. Not even saying that the marijuana that's actually, and CBD oil that's on the market now is 50,000 times as potent as any marijuana back in the day. But this nerd weed getting into, again, the system of the most susceptible individuals is associated with toxicity just because of the pure amount of toxin or of these drugs that are getting into the system that is causing the toxicity. And I say this with as much force as I possibly can muster without having to throat punch everybody, from the FDA to the leaders of Juul. Juul is dangerous. Just from the additive effects, you can actually say, and the levels of nicotine that you can actually get from this particular drug. If you're stupid enough to approve it as an alternative to get people off smoking, when all it does is cause them to remain hooked, that it doesn't make any sense. I think they're lying, and shame on them for lying to the American public. We're not stupid. And if you follow the science would tell you the nicotine that is delivering to the system is 1,000 more times potent. That is what is the direct effects, is what is causing these kids and susceptible young adults to have the the pulmonary issues that they're having now. They need to stop lying, and it needs to be removed from the market, and nobody needs to be using this device. That's just my 2 cents worth. Take it for whatever. It's my opinion, but follow the science. You will find that I'm actually right on this. That ends this week's episode of Tennessee Medical Minute. Join me next week as I explore and update where we are as far as the Newark Water Crisis, as well as the pulmonary diseases that we're seeing with vaping. If you have any comments or have any suggestions on future topics that you would like to see me or hear about on this episode, or anybody that I need to interview, please don't hesitate to drop me a line by email. You can write me at TennesseeFroisReading@gmail.com. Leave a comment within Stitcher, iTunes, or Spotify. Or if you're so inclined, you can leave me a short 2-minute message on my voice over internet number at 423-463, and I'm looking for those last 4 digits. It'll come to me, I promise. Again, that's 423-463-0658. Again, 2-minute message at 423-463-0658. You can follow me on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher, or just on my primary platform of Podbean. Also, don't forget to check out www.dalesangelsinc.com for this series, as well as any other special updates and offers available online. And I'm only talking about things that I have read in the medical and technology news. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Take care.